I've always liked the idea of employee surveys. I think back to Ken Blanchard, who in the 70s said that feedback is the breakfast of champions. But as with all forms of surveys, evaluations, and feedback, the critical thing really is what we do with it as leaders. I have recently had clients who have seen COVID and the uncertainty that it's created and the change and upheaval that it's created as an opportunity to do some employee surveys. And I would agree, when people are working remotely, we don't really know how they feel. We don't really know what is and isn't working for them. We don't really know how working remotely is affecting our organizational culture. And the only way we're going to know is if we ask. But how we respond to that feedback is a really big deal. We need to sincerely want to know what people think and feel and take it as useful information and a starting point for actions that we take as a result. I have coached many people who have been through employee surveys and have been upset, offended sometimes by the results. And having listened to them, we get into a discussion about whether or not there is anything to be gained at all by debating the feedback, the timing of the survey, the instrument, what was going on in the organization at the time, because the fact of the matter is the feedback is the feedback. You asked for the feedback. This is the feedback. Now the only question to ask yourself is, what are you going to do with it? So my view is this. If you receive employee feedback and it is not what you had hoped it would be, the starting point is to think about what had you hoped it would be. So set for yourselves a goal, because employee feedback is just it's a dip in the water. And so you set yourselves a goal for a future time when you are going to redo the survey. What is the feedback you would like to receive at some future date? And then you have a look at what are the changes that need to be made, either systemically in terms of the organization or in yourself as a human being, so that it becomes the kind of organization and you become the kind of leader who will get the feedback that you had hoped to get in the first place. So it's a catalyst for growth and change. And from that point of view, it's incredibly useful. But let me say to you that probably the worst thing you can do with the results of an employee feedback is nothing. Why do I say that? Because you asked your employees for feedback. They put themselves out. They took a certain amount of risk. They took their time and they applied their minds and they gave you the feedback. And in response, they get nothing. In my view, that is a resounding indication of contempt. And it will result in people disengaging. So the point that I'm making is this: if you are not ready to receive feedback that might displease you, if this is not a good time to receive that kind of feedback, if you are concerned about how your managers are going to respond to disappointing feedback, rather don't do it at all. Rather spend some time and some energy and maybe even a little bit of money getting the organization and your managers ready to receive this kind of feedback, so that when they do get it, they can respond thoughtfully, mindfully. They can take the feedback back to their teams. They can talk about it. They can make decisions about changes that they want to make. They can refer back to their teams to see how they're doing and create a much better experience with the feedback. If you have any doubt whatsoever about the readiness of the organization to deal with feedback constructively, rather don't do it. It really could do more harm than good.